Is roll number 16? Roll number 21.
Sir, I will start in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, Balaji sir, shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, and sorry, sir, for delay.
Okay.
Uh, Give me one second. Good morning to all. It's my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Varun Saxena, Associate Professor in Faculty of Technology at the University of Delhi. Dr. Saxena holds a PhD from the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and has over 15 years of experience in teaching, research, and academic administration. His academic journey includes significant contributions at institutions such as Jawaharlal Nehru University, JSS Academy of Technical Education, and now the University of Delhi. His research spans plasma science, electromagnetic ion traps, non-linear system, neuromorphomic circuits, and emerging technologies with an impressive record of publication in leading IEEE and international journals. Dr. Saxena has successfully supervised several PhD, MTech scholars and is actively involved in prestigious research projects, including a national quantum mission funded initiative on optical atomic clocks. He has also made noteworthy contribution to academic leadership and university administration. We are truly privileged to have such an accomplished academic and researcher with us today. I am confident that his insight and expertise will make this session both enlightening and inspiring for all of us.
Thank you.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I
And
think
sorry, sir, for getting you delay, sir, because I was in the class. So sorry for that, sir.
what did you say? I couldn't get it.
Actually, I was in the class, sir. So sorry for waiting you, sir, for the in the
No
global, sir.
problems. No. We all have our tasks.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so that's fine completely. So, a very good morning to all the participants of the faculty induction program. Before we start, I want to express my gratitude to Baba Sahib Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad, HRDC, for inviting me to give a talk in this faculty induction program. I think this is the 17th faculty induction program, and I think I got associated with BAMU a long time back. In fact, I was one of the participants in the first faculty induction program, which started during the COVID days, and it became online. So since then, I've had a very warm association with BAMU and HRDC. I want to definitely, at this point of time, thank Professor Abdul Rafe, who is also the coordinator for this FIP. He has he was coordinating my FIP as well, and we used to consider him a very tough taskmaster. And we all used to complete our tasks and submit assignments and video recordings in time. So I hope that you people are also doing that, and you'll also do that in future days to come. I think this program is going to continue till 13th, I believe, right? So yeah, so I'm very grateful to BAMU team, and I welcome all the participants here. So I just wanted to know a little bit about I mean, what is the breakup like for the participants? I mean, are you people mostly from Maharashtra and neighboring states, or you're like from other areas also, most of you? Is there any representative of BAMU present here today, right now? I mean,
Sir,
no.
across the states, not specific Maharashtra.
I see, I see. And so I've kept my topic pretty general. So let me just share my screen and we'll just start with it. So I hope this is visible now, my screen.
Yes, sir.
So I've chosen this topic of e-governance, e-learning, and LMS, learning management systems in higher education. That will be a topic. It's a pretty general topic. My experience of attending these induction programs and also giving a few lectures now and then has taught me that people from diverse backgrounds come. There are people from colleges, there are people from schools, there are people from universities, from different streams. I'm particularly from engineering, but others are like from history or economy and other areas. So I kind of keep it a little general. So over a period of I think 3 hours, from 11 to 2, that's the scheduled time. We're going to be talking about these aspects and how they relate to education in higher education system. Are there any faculty members here from schools as well? Or is everybody from a college or an engineering college or universities? Because there have been times when people have been from schools also. So anyways, but I think LMS and e-learning is something which has become an integral part of our instruction giving and other aspects of academics. So I thought that probably this would be the best thing to start with. So of course, I'm not going to be talking continuously for 3 hours. So we'll have small breaks in the middle so that you people can refresh yourself. Some of you are probably sitting in your workplace and may have some work, so you can quickly go. So probably we'll start like around 11:15. I'll start my lecture. We'll continue till maybe 12, and then we'll take a short break of about 10 minutes. We will come back and we'll continue for maybe another 45, 1 hour period, and then we'll take another short break of 10 minutes. And I will try to conclude the lecture by maybe 1:35, 1:45, and then we are open for some discussions. And finally, we concluded about 2 p.m. So I'll give you like maybe a couple of breaks. I mean, I also need them, but I think that will be the best thing to do so that you people can, relax a little bit. So, okay, so I'm going to start, and I think right now the connectivity is okay. Everybody is able to hear me, but in case there is a issue, uh, I will probably turn off my video for some time, but for most of the lecture, it will be on. Okay. So I only very recently joined Faculty of Technology. I was with Jawaharlal Nehru University for a long time, and only about 6 months back I joined. So I think after joining Faculty of Technology in University of Delhi, this is my first lecture for any faculty induction program. Anyway, so starting with e-governance, let me just better the view. Uh, just 1 second. Yeah. So is this visible? I hope everything is visible. Can anybody confirm?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So, coming to e-governance, e-governance, UNESCO is a United Nations organization that defines e-governance as a formulation of processes through which socio-political, economic, administrative powers are exercised to manage state affairs. Okay. And one of the key stakeholders in e-governance are the citizens of a country. And of course, e-governance has been initiated by the government of any country, and definitely here in this country also, e-governance has been initiated by successive governments of India, so that citizens are able to, exercise their rights, their obligations, and also defend their interests whenever it is possible. So today you see a lot of government initiatives that have come on digital platform, and one very common digital initiative that has come on government platform is your Aadhaar card, right? So your Aadhaar card is there. Uh, uh, payment of you book your tickets for trains, for airlines. You book your hotels, everything from government websites like IRCTC. You if you've gone recently to get your passports renewed and or made, you have the passport seva. So these are all e-governance initiatives. In fact, one of the biggest one that we all use every year, probably something that we would not want to do is, pay
Dr. Krishnan.
pay a huge amount of tax. But even taxation these days is on government portals, and that has also become an integral part of e-governance, where citizens are able to pay taxes and file their returns on websites. So, I think e-governance is there for citizens. You have these places where you can even go and address your grievances, or report for malpractices and frauds and crimes these days. These cyber crimes, especially with smartphones, is very prevalent. So, all these, the government has come up with various portals where you can go register your complaints, and many times, I'm not saying all the times, but many times, some relief is also given to people who get adversely affected. So UNESCO says that it is not solely about deliberative democracy, but rather than utilizing ICT to make administration and public service more accessible, accountable, and efficient. And that is exactly what it is. All these things, making of passports, Aadhaar, your identity, PAN card, grievance redressal, all are a part of public services. And because of the fact that now these things are on the on ICT platforms, e-governance has been able to penetrate through, or not only a tier 1 cities, but tier 2, tier 3 cities, or villages, districts, and and municipalities and villages everywhere. I mean, of course, there are some prerequisites for e-governance, like you need to have internet connection, Wi-Fi connection, and laying down of huge amount of cables so that broadband internet connectivity is available. Of course, those are the prerequisites, but the fact is that a lot of people are utilizing these digitally available services. it means that e-governance is effectively penetrated. So that's basically the standard definition of e-governance and some examples that I mentioned. And we have been very, actively utilizing these services that have been given to us by the government. So if you look at the institutional capability framework for e-governance, so you have these strategic outcomes. What are the outcomes? Why do we have e-governance? So we have e-governance because of certain outcomes, right? So these outcomes are, we want service delivery to be efficient. Whatever service the government is expected to, provide us, the government can provide using e-governance. Enhanced user satisfaction. Of course, we are the people who are using these services. And instead of standing in big lines and, waiting for a turn to come, going with paper documents, submitting them, fearing whether the papers get lost or not, or they get, tangled up in a wrong file. All those concerns that we have had over a period of years no longer exist, because today you are able to avail all these facilities sitting at your home. Very recently I got my son, he's 5 years old. I got his passport renewed. I just went to the Passport Seva portal. It just took me about 15 minutes. I filled in all the details. I paid the initial money, and I got a appointment for the next day. I ordered for Tatkal service. I went there with my son and my wife, and it took me another like only about 30 minutes. And the next day, we get a message that the passport is getting dispatched. The police verification happened the very same day, and the third day, I got my passport. So the platforms have become very, very efficient, especially in metropolitan cities. I'm not saying that this is exactly what happens everywhere, but our satisfaction with using these service platforms has substantially increased. We don't have to go stand in lines. I remember the first time when I went to get my passport done, for almost 4.5 hours, I was standing at one passport office, which was the only passport office in Delhi. And it was a very frustrating experience. But today we can do it at our home. We can select a certain period of time where we want to, when we want to apply for it, where do we want to go, at what time we want to go. So of course, the satisfaction for these services has become very, very immense. And all that results in inclusive digital governance. So what has happened is that the digital platforms have penetrated our lives and have made themselves actually quite indispensable. I do not know how many. I think in Delhi, what has happened is that even the gas that we used to cook food earlier, that comes from a piped network now. If you connection, all you really need to do is just probably apply online, and these people come and they install everything. So these are basic outcomes, right? We want effective platforms for delivery of services. We want a good user satisfaction. We want people using these services not to get frustrated while using them. Of course, there are certain government websites that don't work properly, but then most of them do. And the reason why they don't work properly is not because they've been created substandard websites have been created. It's just that the load of people availing services at given point of time sometimes far exceeds the capability of these websites and the terminals to handle so much of requests. So sometimes we have to be a little patient, but over and all, these services that have been given to us by government now on digital platforms, the satisfaction of the users has essentially increased. And when it comes to strategic outcomes, we also look at digital adoption and user acceptance. Now, that is a very important thing. Uh, I mean, even today, generations before ours sometimes are very skeptical of using online platforms to pay. Our grandfathers and even our parents, they have been used all their lives they've used hard currency to pay. They used to get their salaries, they used to go to a bank, give a check, take the money out, and then probably go and buy maybe grocery or pay for their transportation or school fees of their children, or fees, I mean. All these things were actually happening either through hard cash or through instruments like checks and demand drafts. And today we have these portals like Phone Pay and Google Pay and Bheem UPI and net banking. Of course, adoption of these platforms is not always something that is seen by people from previous generations uh, uh, very easily. So there is a resistance to digital adoption at many places. Sometimes the resistance to digital adoption does not come because of some sort of skepticism from the user, but it's just because people are not literate enough that they can operate these systems. So you require a little bit of literacy also to be able to use it. You should be able to read and write and understand what instructions are coming. So, but I believe that by and large, these platforms have become very user friendly, and digital adoption has increased over a period of time. Sometimes you use a certain website and you are able to get your tasks done. But sometimes when these websites don't work, you feel a little dissatisfied. You say that, oh my God, what kind of platform is this? And we are having this issue and that issue. So, but I believe that now with broadband and 5G and 6G coming soon, I don't know whether it's been adopted everywhere, but 5G certainly has been adopted. And with this kind of a fast data streaming and service streaming, the user acceptance has also kind of increased. So digital adoption and user acceptance becomes very important. And it has largely happened, especially in metropolitan areas, tier one, tier two cities. May not have gone to, very deep areas in our country, but yeah, by and large, I think everybody now has a phone, a smartphone, and people are, using these services. And I think they're accepting these facilities and these services fairly well. And many of us have almost entirely adopted to these ways. In fact, I don't remember when was the last time I went to an ATM machine to take out hard currency. Like when salary comes and we have to do monthly expenditures, everything happens through phone pay. It's like just numbers flowing here, there, and that's how things get done. I mean, in fact, for many years now, though my family objects to this fact that I have not carried any hard currency with me. People say you should always have some spare cash. I also sometimes believe that we do, but the habit has become such that I just say, okay, I have my phone, I have my charger, and wherever I go, there will be a scanner and I'll be able to pay. Everybody has their numbers linked to UPIs now, especially in Delhi and nearby areas. So, I mean, it's been a long time. I carried some cash in my pocket. Whenever I have some currency notes in my pocket, my family members, they get really surprised that, oh, you carry currency. How come you're carrying currency today? So anyway, so digital adoption has been very, I mean, certainly with me, it's been very strong. And I'm sure that with many people, it's been fairly strong. Coming to the next point, institutional innovation diffusion. So this is also very important, right? All these institutions that provide these facilities, all the institutions that avail these facilities, like, it's not just individuals that are availing these facilities. For example, yeah, I'm sure that there are people here from government institutions also, academic institutions. So in government academic institutions, especially in central government academic institutions, the files that move, when you have to get approvals or when you have to, um, you know, uh, initiate certain actions, we move some files and they're called e-files, and they come from a certain software by the government of India called e-office, right? So this is a completely digital platform. These days, Samarth is again a portal that has been used by a lot of government and even private institutions. Have you heard of a portal called Samarth portal? Is there anybody who has some idea about Samarth portal? I see. Okay. So anyway, so there's a very famous portal which has been adopted by several government institutions. So institutions themselves also need to adopt, and so it's not just at individual level that e-governance has to penetrate. At institutional levels also it has to penetrate. Today you go to any bank, they are not maintaining records on ledgers. They maintain records on certain softwares which have been produced by multinational companies like Wipro, Infosys, TCS. So these banking institutions have also kind of innovated in the sense that today they're moving slowly away from keeping big logs of registers and ledgers of writing everything to making things all digital. And that has diffused over a period of time, in the sense that it has moved from from the top level to even the bottom level, which means that it has moved from the headquarters to various bank branches and to sub branches and to areas which are in metropolitan cities, to areas which are in villages. Everywhere you see these institutions adopting digital means and e-governance platforms. The next aspect is, of course, service quality and performance. All these platforms, if do not work, there is no use of making these platforms, right? If a website is mostly down, no matter how many services it promises to provide, it is useless, right? So quality of the service is very important, and the performance is also very important. You go to a website, it's working, you click a button and you just keep waiting and nothing happens. Then what do? You get frustrated and you will turn off that website. And it has happened with us for several websites. I mean, I'm talking about even the government of India websites like IRCTC. They have frustrated me quite a bit, but now the service has become very good. There was a time when you just could not log in. The captcha was not coming, or the website used to go down. You were booking a ticket and suddenly the page disappears. So it used to frustrate me quite a bit at some point of time. But over and all, I think the service quality and performance has increased and has become better. So yeah, so e-governance requires a good level of quality of service and inclusive access and e-participation. All these services need to be provided to people, as many people as possible, and you have to ensure that as many people as possible have access to these services. And it is there where broadband internet connections and Wi-Fi networks and smartphones have become very handy. Today there are several things that you can do using your smartphone only. You don't need a desktop or a laptop. I remember a couple of times I have delivered my entire lecture while I was traveling in a car using my phone, FIP programs or some refresher course. So, these smartphones have become an integral part of our lives. Of course, they come with certain dangers and perils, but the fact is that uh, it is because of these phones and the internet connections and so many towers being erected at almost every second corner of your city. uh, the access has become very inclusive, and as many people as possible are now participating in utilizing e-governance platforms and services therein. So to summarize, I think if you look at the e-governance capability framework, for e-governance to be capable of delivering whatever it wants to, certain outcomes need to be kept in mind, which have been listed here. And for those certain outcomes, we require, first of all, digital adoption. That is very important. We require innovation. Diffusion of innovation is very important. People should accept it and people should let it transmit throughout. Service quality and performance is important. If these platforms are offering certain services, then the quality of the service has to be optimum. And the times when the service is being provided, a positive outcome should come more often than less. And of course, inclusive access. As many as possible people should be actually using all these services. Then only the strategic outcomes are met, and then only the capability of e-governance services is effectively utilized. Okay. Moving ahead. So coming to what are the objectives? So why do we need e-governance? So we were looking at the e-governance capability framework. Now coming to why exactly, what are the objectives? For what reason e-governance came into existence? So to improve transparency and accountability. That is very important. You know, when we want a certain task to be done, the first thing that we want to know is that we want to have a rough estimate that how much time will it take. Like for example, today when you use your phone to pay to some other person, like very recently, only yesterday I paid the second quarter fees of my son's school. So I just clicked a button, and and the money got transferred to the account of the school, and I got a confirmation, right? Initially, when you used to go and pay through checks or whichever way, it would take maybe 5 days, 7 days. Of course, that time has decreased now significantly. I think it happens in maybe 2 days or maybe even a single day, depending upon which bank branch you are sending money from and which bank branch the money is going in. But over a period of time, transparency has increased. You know what time you paid the money, you get some number, reference number. If something goes wrong, if the money doesn't get credited to some other account, you have a reference number, and you can go and, file some sort of a grievance and gets taken care of. You also know that, okay, if I'm transferring money, it will immediately reach the user. Like if suppose when I send some money, say to my wife on, some UPI, immediately she gets a message. So I know that, these kind of services, the result happens almost immediately. Then there are certain services, like for example, if I want to go to if I want a demand draft to be made, I know that today it will be made in a single day, because I'm just going to open the digital portal of the bank. I'm going to request for a demand draft, and maybe in about 3-4 hours I'll go and collect it from the bank branch. So accountability is also increased, because you can track what service you wanted, what service you have availed, at which date, which time you have availed, and when are the outcomes coming. So, everything is now available. Everything, all the links and all the chains are available, because of the fact that digital platforms are now available for these e-governance initiatives. So, of course, transparency and accountability has certainly increased. Of course, still there are loopholes. Like, for example, in my academic institution, of course, you're moving everything through e-files. So e-file, where it is, to whom it is gone. But there are sometimes people, they just keep sitting on the files. So those kind of things are always there. But then accountability is there, because the person cannot sit on a certain file for like 10 days or 12 days. So earlier, people could just simply refuse that the file has not come to us. But today they cannot do that. So accountability has certainly increased. Transparency has increased, right? Today, there was a very famous legislation that came out, and people very effectively use it these days to ensure transparency and accountability. That is the RTI Act, Right to Information Act. A lot of times when people want information, they just go to the RTI website, they file a request, and the government institutions and organizations are bound to reply within a certain period of time. So what is happening? I mean, you are asking for information on a digital platform. You are getting it within a certain period of time. So yes, accountability and transparency has increased, right? It has also definitely, because the accountability is now right on your face, along with transparency. The speed at which the decision making process happens has also increased. Decisions are being taken at a faster rate. I'm not saying for everything, but for most of the things, right? Uh, Another thing is, you're like reducing paperwork. Uh, of course, in government institutions, there is definitely a paper trail, and I am of the opinion that it will not ever entirely be eliminated, the use of paper. But yes, there is definitely a reduction in paperwork. You don't require bulky files. You don't require storerooms keeping loads and loads of files anymore. So those kind of things do not exist. So paperwork has definitely reduced. Uh, and most importantly, since we are a part of the academic infrastructure of the country, service delivery to students and faculty has increased. Um, the attendance is a lot of institutions, they have attendance for faculty members, log in and log out times are there, and all this is available digitally. You can see at what time you came in, at what time you came out. Nobody can say that you were not present in the premises. uh, your salary slips are all generated digitally. All the information comes to you through emails. You create timetables now on softwares like Excel, and they get circulated on emails. Date sheets get circulated, printed, everything. All service deliveries to students. Students come, they pay their fees online, they get fee receipts online. In fact, the counseling processes at the time of admission has become almost entirely online. Like currently, for engineering admissions in IITs and NITs, triple ITs, and central technical funded institutions is happening under the name of JOSA and CSAP counseling. That process is entirely online. Even University of Delhi does admissions now through their own software, which is entirely online. So service delivery to students is also increased. Mark sheets are coming online. If you want to file a grievance, you want papers to be checked again, all of that is happening online. So the service delivery to students has also kind of enhanced. The quality has enhanced, right? And the record keeping is also something which was one of the key features of providing digital services, that instead of keeping you know uh, piles and piles of paper, you are storing records on hard disks of computers or on cloud services, and these records are there forever. Like today, if you want to go and access one of the emails that you had sent to some person 10 years back, all you need to go is search in your email and you'll find it there, right? A lot of times when I have to save something, I just simply send a mail to myself and it's there forever now. So digital record keeping has increased our capability to record things and keep them forever. That is why the government of India has started a big initiative of digitizing, right? Digitization of records. Of course, the pace is something that can be debated upon, but there are a lot of things which have gotten digitized. Today, most of the central universities in Delhi, they have digital libraries, and they have a collection of thousands and lakhs of books which are available online, and they'll be available online even though when we will not be here on this earth. They will be available for future generations. So digital record keeping is like a record uh, for eternity, I must say. So they say, there are a lot of times we talk about, if you want something to stay there forever, just put it on the internet and it'll always be there. Anybody can find it and anybody can use it. So these were the objectives. We wanted to reduce the time for decision making. We want the decision making to be faster. We wanted to improve transparency and accountability. We wanted to, reduce paperwork. We wanted to enhance service delivery to, I mean, since we're talking about academic institutions and we are all academicians, I wrote students and faculty, but it is says enhanced service delivery to every citizen, even non-citizens, right? If somebody wants to apply for visa to India, we are giving people outside country the facility to comfortably apply for that as well, right? So enhance service not only to citizens, but people who are not citizens also. And of course, digital record keeping. That becomes very important. Anything that you put on the internet is there forever, you know. So these are the objectives because of which e-governance was envisaged and was implemented, and we have been, I think, fairly successful so far. A lot of things need to be done, but yeah, we have been very successful. Now coming to higher education, right? Because since we are all academicians, or we are part of the academics of this country, we have to look at it from the perspective of higher education, right? So there are a lot of components of e-governance and platforms in higher education. So as I said before, online admission and registration systems, uh, that's very important. We need we need them. You have portals for JOSA and so all India exam JEE mains and JEE advanced people give, and these exams are also given these days in the online mode, right? So you give exams, you get the results online, then based on that you register for counseling, which is also online. The counseling currently is happening. JOSA counseling round 2 is going on. Even in University of Delhi, in my college, second round has started today for counseling. So admissions are happening in the online mode. Students, once allocated certain institutions, they have to go physically to report to those institutions. Then they register for that particular year or semester. That also happens in the online mode. You get a list of courses that you want to, avail in a certain semester. That database is also created online. Of course, sometimes you need to take a printout too, but online admission and registration systems today, almost everywhere, are now on digital platforms. I hope that, I think that almost all of you over here, if are a part of an engineering college or a part of a state university or central university, will agree that admissions and registration systems and document verification, all of this happens in the online mode, these days. In fact, all the information today is also disseminated in the online mode. Like if you go to JOSA 2026 website, you'll see that everything is online mode, schedule, everything. So admission and registration systems have now become completely online, right? Some examples I've given: CUET, right? This is an exam that universities conduct. CUET, UG, CUET, PG, uh, even for PhD, people take uh, CUET. It's conducted by NTA, I believe. So it's like Common University Entrance Test, right? So all of these are now digital platforms. We have digital examination systems. I remember when I was giving entrance exams for engineering colleges, I used to go to a certain center, a question paper used to come to me, an OMR sheet used to come to me, and we used to do that. Sometimes I gave some exams in which I used to solve questions. So, you were given a sheet. Exams conducted by UPSC still happen in the same way, a question paper and an answer sheet mode. But then there are many exams now that happen through online digital examination systems. You get hall tickets are generated, you get admit cards, you have on-screen evaluation. When I was studying, the only exam that used to happen in the online mode was called GRE exam, graduate. I think I'm not remembering the exact full form of it. Let me just find out what was it. Um, so you had a GRE exam to go abroad. So it was graduate record examination. People used to give SAT exam, SAT. They still give it. So these were the only exams which are happening in the online mode when I was studying. But today, almost every competitive exam for engineering college happens in the online mode. JEE exam, joint entrance exam for admissions to IITs, triple IITs, and IITs. All these exams, they happen in the online mode, right? So, and everything comes in, you fill the registration form online, you submit the fee online, you look at the prospectus or information online, hall tickets are generated online, admit cards, I mean, you go and you give your paper also online. You don't do it sitting at home, but you go to certain centers where you give these papers in the online mode, and the results are also online, right? Everything comes, you don't have to go and look at the result printed on a piece of paper somewhere on some wall. We used to do that, but I think we all have done that. But today, uh, those kind of things don't happen. All the results are automated. You get information on your emails, or you go to the website and they say the results are being declared, and you go and you see your results. So the examination system has also become digitalized to a great extent. Coming to finance and HR, e-governance platforms are there also. Like so for us, suppose you want to apply for a job in a certain institution, you see an advertisement, you fill an online form, you pay the fees, you get confirmation receipt for it. When if you're shortlisted or not, that information is also available on some portals, or you get emails that you've been shortlisted. Then you get some information on your emails about when is the interview, when are the presentations. And if you're getting selected, you get emails that you've been selected, you're given your appointment letters online. So all those things that HR is supposed to do are today happening on these platforms, digital platforms. Of course, in government institutions, you do get mails and letters which come through speed post, but many things happen in the online mode. As far as finance is concerned, all your finances these days can be tracked online. You get your pay slips online, the money gets transferred online, you get messages on your phone that money has been transferred. So all of these things are there. And now the government has also made purchasing online, right? So there is a platform called government e-market called GEM. So if you want to buy anything, whether it's an equipment or whether it's furniture, whether it's a consumable or non-consumable entity, you are only procuring by placing orders online on this portal called GEM. How many people have heard of this portal called GEM? How many people have done purchases on GEM? Nobody? So I mean, this is a portal that nowadays people use for procuring commodities, which are to be utilized in academic institutions. Then comes data management, academic data management. You have uh, you have platforms for digital attendance, curriculum mapping, and data automation for NIRF or NAG accreditation or NB accreditation. All these things are happening online these days, right? Your attendance of coming and going out of the institution is also digital at most of the places. Students' attendances are also being mapped digitally at several places. Curriculum itself is available, mapping to some COs and POs, course outcomes and program outcomes, and all those things are there now, which is available online. Students, if have to choose electives, they first go and look at the syllabus. They don't search for teachers. They just go on the website, they look at the syllabus, they look at what are the books that need to be studied. They look at what is the depth of the course. They look at what is expected out of them, prerequisites, if any. They look at what will be the outcomes, or that once they study this course, what is it that they are going to learn from it. All of this today is available online, uh, most of our institutions, they go for accreditations like NBA, like NAC. The government of India comes up with different rankings, NIRF rankings for institutions in different categories. So all these data are collected in the institutions, and then they are uploaded on the portals of NAC, NBA, and NIRF. They are assessed, and then you have these evaluators that come outside to verify the data that has been uploaded. So a lot of data management in academic institutions is happening online. And there are many institutions today where all of this is happening in the online mode. There may be some institutions where some of this is happening in the online mode, but the fact is that we have to accept that in some or the other percentage, these components of digitization or governance today exist in higher education. And they have some good reason for existing, and they have made our lives very, very simple in a lot of ways. In fact, I think uh, if you ask me, sometimes I do get frustrated when it comes to online procurement, because people don't honor sometimes the deliveries are late and you don't get the right kind of material. You get better prices outside those portals, but because you're a part of a government system, you're bounded to follow rules and purchase. But you do get everything now available. So, I mean, there are pros and cons in some areas, but all the all the aspects that I have kind of mentioned over here, I believe that the experience has only been positive, uh, at least for me. And I'm sure that many people will agree that uh, adoption of digital means and innovation of these, softwares and diffusion of these softwares in higher education has made our lives simpler in many ways, right? So I think I'll probably stop here and we'll take a small break. And I hope that's okay. And we will come back and continue at 12:10. Okay? Is that okay with everyone, I believe? Huh? Taking
Yes, sir.
short
Yes,
breaks
sir.
is helpful, so that you can pay some attention to what I'm saying, right? We meet at 12:10 now. Thank you. Yes. So I'm back again. I hope we can continue now. Can we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. So we were looking at these key components of higher education system, and I think we covered them, right? Online admission and registration, digital examination systems, e-governance for finance and HR, human relations, and academic data management. So we looked into it. Moving ahead, we look at some of the Indian examples of these systems that we have adopted. So SWAM portal is a very popular portal. I'm sure that some of you must have definitely heard about it. It's a portal where you have these online courses which are being offered by faculty members of institutions like IITs, NITs, central universities. Certification programs happen, and students can learn, give exams, and get grades. In our national education policy, I think 20% of the credits can be taken by studying courses which have been offered by SWAM portal. So even the government has, very actively made it a part of our higher education system. In in our university, in Delhi University, also even in my faculty of technology, we are offering these courses to students now in their final year, 7th and 8th semester. They'll be able to take some courses equivalent to 20% of their credits. Is there anybody here whose college or institution or university has adopted these courses through some platform? Is there anyone? Is there any faculty member present here whose institution follows national education policy in all its heart and spirit? Or, partially, is there anyone?
Sir, DigiLocker is used for.
DigiLocker is there like for even from outside academic institutions. Like for example, you can create your own DigiLocker and put all your important documents like your Aadhaar card and passport and PAN cards and all that. Students use DigiLocker to get their degrees, matriculation degrees or their degrees. But is there anybody? Have you accessed SWAM portal for courses? Do you even know what it is like? Is there anybody who has an idea of this portal? Anyone? Okay, so let me just, so if nobody has an idea, I think let me just show you this portal. I think it'll not be a bad idea to show it to you. Just 1 second. Um, I've stopped sharing. I'm kind of opening that portal first and then I will come back. So let me share the screen now. Yeah. So this is like, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the SWAM portal, which is available online. In fact, if people do not know about it, it's a good place to go and look up for courses that you want to study or some areas that you want to look into. So you have all these courses here. There are some popular courses which will come from here. Architecture and planning courses come from here. Design, engineering, and technology. We mostly access these courses. You have health sciences. You have arts and humanities.
Science is also, sir. Library science.
I'm sorry.
Library information science. Library science subject.
Yeah, library we can check. So you have these courses. You have courses like library information and society. Library information society, again, I think, yeah, it's the same course. You have communication skills. You have management of library information. So you have some courses, you can actually go into it and you can look into it. So library automation, if you look into this course, like for example, it's been given by a professor from Banaras Hindu University. You have all these lectures here, right? You have course information. So this is a small introduction that Professor Girish Kumar is going to give about the course. You have the entire information about the course given over here, who will be the intended audience. Prerequisites are also given for some courses you require. Sometimes the industry support is also there. Like for example, in many engineering courses, you have certain companies that provide certain softwares also get attached to a certain course at SWAYAM platform, and indicative program alignments, and then you have a summary. When did the course start, or when it's supposed to start? Like this is going to start in August. I'm sure that sometime back also, last year or maybe last semester, this course must have run. So you have enrollment dates, exam dates will come later, assessment. See, even the assessment is online. The course is online, even the assessment is online. You can join the course from here. You have course outline here. Everything is given here. What are they going to teach in week 1, week 2? So, it depends how many week program it is. So this is like a 8-week program. I think you can formulate different weeks. So you have like programs which are like 12 weeks also, the longer ones. So you have the course outline here. You have books. They give you information about, all the text, the reference text, the suggestive text, everything is here. You have the information about the person who's delivering these lectures, and you get an idea of how much money you need to pay to sit for the exams, and you get a certificate for the results. What is the basis on which you are going to get results, and all those relevant information about the course is available. So this is one of the library courses. I think some person asked, so I just mentioned this course and I opened this. And if you go back, you look at other areas also. You can look into maths and science. One will say, let me just check. So like a course probably that is very popular in, so you have linear algebra course. So you can look into it, linear algebra. So you get a lot of courses of linear algebra here. You can just click into any one of them. This is I think this looks like an NPTEL course to me. So yeah, so it's from IIT Bombay. So Professor Dilip P. Patil is giving this course here, right? So this is a very useful website, and you don't have to give a paper to join these courses. You can join these courses. You can study these courses. Some of these courses are also available on YouTube. So if I click this, I think I can go to the YouTube link where these courses should open. Yeah. So you don't always have to join these courses on the portal. You can just take the link out and you can study them. See, all of them are here, and other courses also. So you can do all this. Everything is available online, and this is a wonderful example of digitization and using a digital platform. So SWAYAM is a digital platform that you can use, right? And you can go through these different areas, and any course that you want to check, if it's available, it'll be here, right? So you can look into it. Okay, coming back to our slides, let's just go back to our slides now. Yeah. So SWAYAM platform is there, as I mentioned, for courses, and people can look into it. In case you've not ever accessed this, now you can access it. Then, of course, we were talking about DigiLocker for degree verification. So DigiLocker is not just for degree verification. The reason why I've written degree verification here is because we're talking about e-governance platforms for higher education. So that's why I mentioned DigiLocker. But DigiLocker is available to any citizen of this country, and you can store your documents there and they can be verified. But in counseling processes, when online verification of documents are happening, so certain times certificates and mark sheets which are not available, which have been issued by CBSE, but digital copies are available. So DigiLocker copies are acceptable documents when you're doing online verification of documents. So DigiLocker is again another feature which is actively utilized in higher education system. You have National Academic Depository. This is another software and platform, I'm sorry, So we can, you can go and look into it. I was talking about e-office for administration. This is something that this is e-office for administration is the software that I was talking about that I was using in my previous with my previous employer, Jawaharlal Nehru University, for moving files. So this is actually by what do you call NIC, National Informatics Center. So they provide it. And then you also have so these are not, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is a just few few examples of e-governance that we use, right? So and there are many more, of course, but some of them I wanted to mention, so I mentioned it over here. Let me show you how the counseling process is happening in JOSA. So let me show you. So I'll just go back and I'll just share the screen in a minute. Yeah, so let me show you. So if you look at it, this is actually the screen for Central Seat Allocation Board CSAB. It's an online e-counseling service for session 2026. And you have all the information available here about NTA, JOSA, GA, advanced, mains, results, everything is available here, percentiles, and you have about CSAB, you have various certificates, you have notices. You can go and look into here. There's no document, but you have important links, last year's ranks, and somewhere here will also be some schedules. What are the schedule should be here somewhere. This is an archive. I think if you find somewhere, you'll find. So DASA, CSAM. Yeah, so I mean, you get all the information available. So this is a candidate activity law. Here is the information brochure. Here is the schedule. So all these information these days today are available online. You really don't need to go anywhere to look at it. Is there anybody whose son or daughter is actually taking part in this counseling right now? CSAP counseling, JOSA counseling? No one? Okay. So this is a counseling that is currently going on in its second round. All right. So yeah, so let's come back to our presentation. Okay. So can you see the presentation now? We've come back to the presentation. I hope it's visible. Can anybody confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So coming to the next part of our lecture today, which is e-learning. So we'll talk about e-learning now. So e-learning is a digital or online learning which is delivered through internet-based technology. And like I was showing you that portal called Swam portal, all the lectures available there for different courses. That's an integral part of the process of e-learning, because we are actually learning through lectures which have been delivered to us through internet in an online mode, right? Now, there are different types of e-learnings. So the first type of e-learning is asynchronous learning, right? Asynchronous learning means that something has something that has happened at some other point of time, and you're utilizing it at your own pace and leisure and convenience. Like, for example, pre-recorded videos. So let's say that today somebody is not attending this faculty induction program, but would want to access the lecture that I have delivered. So this is a pre-recorded lecture, right? So they can request BAMU HRDC to provide that lecture. And if it is provided, then they can go through whatever I'm talking about at some other time. So it becomes a pre-recorded video, right? So that is a part of asynchronous learning. The SWAM platform, they also have lectures which have been recorded at some point of time, but they start broadcasting them during that specific period when the course is actually running. So they are also pre-recorded lectures and they are also asynchronous learnings. There are certain discussion boards also where, let's say that you are doing a certain course and you have some problem and you want to float a question to either the instructor or to other participants to see whoever can answer your query. So those discussion boards also become a part of asynchronous learning. Okay, sometimes notes are also being shared on those boards. And self-paced modules, right? So if you go to YouTube and you want to study a course, and YouTube also has a series of lectures of certain course. So you self-pace it, right? Someday when you have time, you look at it. Maybe you're busy the next day, you don't look at it, and then you go back whenever you have time. So asynchronous learning is that learning in which you are able to access pre-recorded videos, discussion boards, and self-paced modules. Uh, based on your convenience and whenever you have time, right? And whenever you have the inclination to study. Then comes the thing like synchronous learning. Like currently, all the people who are here listening to me are probably gaining some insights about what I'm saying. Most of these things we already know, but like somebody did not know SWAM portal. They had no idea that some courses about library science were available. So you are learning something, right? But because of the fact that you're learning at this present moment, this becomes a part of synchronous learning because we are live together at this point of time and we are having a live interaction, right? Virtual classrooms are also kind of synchronous learning. I mean, it can also be a part of asynchronous learning. The line between them is kind of vague, thin, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, virtual classrooms are also kind of synchronous learnings in which I can say this is also like a virtual classroom only, right? If somebody would pose a question, suppose you were students of a certain course and I was the instructor, then this is a virtual classroom, right? So we're not sitting in one class with a whiteboard or seats, but I can use some digital technology to write something and you can learn from it. So virtual class, this is also a part of a virtual classroom. Webinar based learning, so you have these webinars that also happen online, like you have online courses where you're learning certain, like a lot of quantum mechanics courses are being offered by IITs these days. Finance courses are being offered by management schools. So they are all become a part of the webinar based learning. But synchronous learning is where the instructor and the students are there actively participating. That could be considered as a synchronous learning module. Then you have blended learning. Blended learning is a combination of you could say synchronous, asynchronous, together, a combination of online and face-to-face learning. It's very strongly being promoted by National Education Policy 2020. So here what happens is, like, for example, let me give you an example. Like suppose you join a course on SWAM portal and you're looking at the lectures, and if you join a course, what will happen is that they will tell you that there'll be certain times when the instructor will come online and you can interact with the instructor. You can uh, instructor may come online and discuss certain aspects of the course, certain topics of that course, and you can ask questions, right? So instead of putting things on discussion boards, you're directly posing a certain problem to the instructor who's teaching you. So now that becomes a part of blended learning, right? You have online also present there, but you also have face-to-face interaction. Like this could also be a part of blended. So you can also consider this as a part of synchronous learning. You can also consider this as a part of blended learning because we are online, we are doing face-to-face interaction. And if you ask a question, I will answer it. So this is kind of a blended learning. You have hybrid modes also. So in hybrid modes, what happens is that, a lecture is being given and that lecture is also being either recorded or it is being transmitted online, right? So that's like a hybrid mode. Some of the people can take advantage of face-to-face interaction in a certain classroom. The others who cannot be in that classroom, they can access that lecture as it is being delivered or in a pre-recorded form. So those facilities are available in e-learning, and during COVID, I think many of us have done this. Is there anybody who has recorded some lectures and given it to students? Is there anyone who's done that during COVID days? And you still continue to do so? Is there anyone? Have you transmitted hard copy of your notes to students during COVID? I'm sure somebody would have. I mean, I did. Anyway, so, these kind of things, they are basically what are the different types of e-learnings which are available to us. Moving ahead. So, there are certain principles which are associated with learning, right? So I thought that maybe I would include them, and I took it from this, uh, they're considered to be first 5 principles of instruction by Merrill. I kind of took it from this reference here. So first is, of course, the demonstration principle. So learning is promoted when learners observe a demonstration. So this is something that these days schools and even in colleges, it becomes an important part. Sometimes we are too bothered about just writing equations on blackboard or whiteboard. But if you're able to demonstrate something, this happens especially in sciences and engineering. If you're able to demonstrate a certain phenomena, the learning is promoted, because then you can actually relate to what is being taught in terms of equations. Like, for example, there is a device called gyroscope in engineering, which kind of which maintains its position and still keeps on rotating. It doesn't have to be standing quite erect. It can be in any angle, and it keeps on rotating and it keeps on happening. It helps in maintaining balances for all the spacecrafts that go in space, for even in cycles and all, in motorbikes and all, which are like kind of advanced. They have these gyroscopes that maintain their stability. So if you demonstrate the principle of gyroscope to somebody, that person will be able to understand it better, right? So let me give you an example of what gyroscope is, so that you can. So right now I'm telling you that gyroscope is a device which helps in balancing things, right? I've given you this information. Some of you may be able to appreciate it, some of you may not be, but let me just demonstrate it to you and you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Just give me 1 minute. I will share the screen. Yes, so let me share the screen. And so this is, I'm just demonstrating this principle of demonstration to enhance learning. That is what I'm doing by showing you something on internet. So just have a look at this principle. Just wait 1 second, okay? Now look at this gentleman. He's a very, very famous. So he's showing how how torque works. Just look at it. He's actually demonstrating it. See what he does now. And music is there for the, enhance the effect. But see, this is how gyroscope works.
There it goes.
It's not falling down. See,
About 10 seconds.
because the fact that it is rotating, it is not falling.
And it rotates feet from below clockwise. Now the angular momentum will
Music is there, and I should have put a proper leg. You can see. So when it stops rotating, it will fall.
torque. It's like
Yes, this is an example. So he's doing this. This is a lecture in which he's actually giving it. He's talking about gyroscopes here. Okay. So so this is what I mean by demonstrative principle. So because I showed you something, you can retain it much better, right? So the learning is promoted. So that's demonstration principle. So learning is promoted when learners observe a demonstration, right? That's called the demonstration principle. Learning is also promoted when learners apply the new knowledge. So you apply it to an application. So like, for example, right now you saw that if you move something, it is able to rotate and it will not fall down. Now, where can you use it? You can use it to balance things, right? So you can type how a gyroscope balances devices. So that will be an application of the principle of gyroscope. So this is like an application principle. Learning is promoted when learners engage in task-centered instructional strategies. It's called task-centered principle. Okay, so that's another principle. Learning is promoted when learners activate prior knowledge or experience. That's called activation principle. So you can go back in time and recall certain things that you were able to do, but today now you know some technology or some ways it can be enhanced. So that's called as activation principle. Okay. Then there is something called as an integration principle. So learning is promoted when learners integrate their new knowledge into everyday's world, right? So e-learning or e-governance is actually a part of integration principle. So some new knowledge has come and that new knowledge has been integrated into everyday's world. Like you used to go to passport office, stand in a line to get your passport made, but today you're able to do so simply with clicks of some buttons, going there and doing everything again with click of buttons, and the process is more streamlined, less time is wasted, and the results can be tracked, and you get the job done faster. So that is a part of an integration principle. So these are the 5 principles of instructions, and I think that they're useful. And I'll summarize them again. So you have a demonstration principle, you have an application principle, you have a task-centered principle, you have an activation principle, and you have an integration principle. Okay, moving ahead, we look at some government initiatives to promote e-learning. So since we are looking at higher education and we are looking at India in particular because we are citizens of this country, so we look at some initiatives which have been taken by government to improve digital literacy. Of course, to be able to utilize e-learning, you need to be digitally literate. When I say digitally literate, I mean you should have some understanding of how various services are being provided on the digital means and how to use those services on the digital platform, right? On phones, on your laptops, PCs, desktops, so and so, right? So the first is which is called as Bharat Net project. Of course, this list again is not an exhaustive list. I'm not including everything in it, but I'm just giving you some idea of some of the initiatives. All right. So first is Bharat Net project. It has been introduced in all gram panchayats of the country to provide broadband connectivity to all telecom service providers. Right. So now it was passed in 2011 and it had a 3-stage implementation. Telecom Commission. So this is like by a certain ministry of Government of India. And at gram panchayat levels, that means you're penetrating villages through this, right? And you are able to provide broadband connectivity to villages. That means that you're ensuring that now internet penetrates to villages and the gram panchayats in particular. So every gram panchayat has certain administrative things that it does, like for example, demarcating lands, doing registries, keeping records, and in general also giving facilities to citizens. Like for example, there could be an Aadhaar card center in the gram panchayat's office, right, which will work independently of gram panchayat and will directly deal with the UDI, what do you call UDAI authority, something like that, right? So so at gram panchayat level, this BharatNet project was initiated. Then was the National Digital Literacy Mission. It was initiated in 2014 by Ministry of Communication Information Technology to equip every family member with essential digital literacy skills needed to thrive in a technology-dependent society. So this was a very ambitious program, and in many ways it is still continuing, I believe, in which the idea was that every family in this country should know how to use these digital platforms where different services are being provided on phone or on computers, right? Saksharta Abhiyan Digital. So this was a second phase of NDLM only, National Digital Literacy Mission, that was launched in 2012, which was aimed to provide digital literacy to certain number of people, which were people who would then go and propagate it further in villages and tier 3, tier 4 cities, if there is that tier. And these services kind of included ration dealers. Like you have these ration cards where people can go and buy grains in villages and smaller cities. Like I remember when I was a child, we also used to go to the ration card depot here near our houses in Delhi only, and we had a ration card. I still have that ration card. It now is more of a document which we have for, I mean, it gives me a nostalgia. It has names of my grandparents and my father and mother and we as small kids. So sometimes I do look at it. So yeah, these cards are there, and now this is all available in the online mode, right? Then there was a Digital India campaign which was launched in 2015 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to enhance internet access and online infrastructure to promote digital empowerment across the nation. So, Government of India, several. So in 2011, we had a government by a different political party. 2014, it was changed and a different political party comes. But, there are certain things which continue because they are for the larger interest of this nation, right? So in some or the other form, in some or the other nomenclature, essentially they are targeting the same thing of improving digital literacy and e-learning, right? Internet Sathi program was started in collaboration with Google India and Tata Trust by government in 2015, right? And this was specifically for women in rural areas, right? So trained women who knew were called Internet Sathis, and they served as educators and mentors for women in rural areas so that they could be empowered, and they would be able to access and utilize these internet facilities. In 2017, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Digital Saksharta Abhiyan was launched. It was a part of the Digital India program to achieve digital literacy for 6 crore individuals in rural areas by training one person aged between 14 to 60 per household. It was believed that if you teach this to a certain person in a certain household, then that person itself become a an educator for everybody else. Like for example, today if I know certain technology that can be used to better day-to-day life, then I will obviously transmit that information to my family members, and this way you are able to spread the scope of every program and include more and more people and make it more effective in a shorter period of time. So these are certain programs of government that were paid. And so of course 2017, it's almost 9 years now, and I'm sure that a lot has been done and maybe new programs have come, but there are certain things that I thought that I should probably mention, so I'm mentioning it. So the government is actively promoting digital literacy and e-learning. And in 2020, the Government of India published this National Education Policy, which many universities have adopted in letter and spirit, but there are many places where it's being partially adopted or some of the features are adopted. But essentially, this education policy, one of the key pillars of this education policy is e-learning, right? So e-learning becomes an important part of higher education system, and for that to become an integral part, digital literacy is the prerequisite. So that becomes important. So these things are all very intrinsically and very strongly interrelated or correlated. Then we come to benefits of e-learning, right? We have to look at benefits, and we also have to look at what are the challenges, right? So benefits is that it is scalable and accessible. So if you have internet connectivity, then let's say I So today, when I'm delivering this lecture, theoretically speaking, anybody with an internet connection can access it, whether live or in a pre-recorded form, right? So it is very scalable. It's not that there is one-to-one interaction or 1 to say 50 interaction. You can have 1 to 5 lakh interaction also. This lecture can be delivered in the online mode, live or pre-recorded form to lakhs and lakhs of people. So now this has become scalable. So education becomes scalable when you come on the online mode. It becomes more accessible. Like some gentleman told me, the one who was introducing me, he had a class, right? So let's say for some reason he cannot listen to my entire lecture, but he can look at it in a pre-recorded form later. So the accessibility is also there, right? Just because something has happened and you could not be a part of it doesn't mean that you cannot hear it later, right? So scalability is there and accessibility is there, and that's one of the benefits of digital transformation that has been happening in our society for quite some time now. It supports personalized learning, right? Uh, there are a lot of times when we are only interested to learn something that we like, and we are not interested to learn or listen to something that we do not like, right? Now, when you get a newspaper, for example, newspaper is a hard copy, it's print media, and it has news of all sorts, right? You have political news, you have economic news, you have news from other countries, you have sports news, right? And if you're only interested to, let's say, economic news, then you will just probably look and find where are those pages where economics is discussed, and you will look into it. So you'll have to search through different papers and you have to look into it. Like, for example, there was a time when I was growing, and there was a paper that used to come along with the main newspaper. It was called Delhi Times, for Times of India. And I was very interested to know my horoscope. So I used to just quickly go and see how will my day go like, and everything else was just useless for me. And I used to get very irritated when I could not find it, or sometimes when it not used to come, then I used to be very disappointed. So that was my personalized view. I wanted to learn that only. So now when digital education comes into picture, you can actually only look at what you want to do and just separate things out very easily. Like, for example, another gentleman asked me on the SWAYAM portal, sir, are there any courses of library? So we just typed library something, and anything which was there and everything which was there pertaining to library sciences and information systems, whatever. Only that part came and nothing else came. I did not have to Google or search through like 5,000 courses at one point of time, right? So it supports and promotes personalized learning. Uh, E-learning and digital literacy encourages digital skills, right? To be able to access these things, you need to know information regarding these platforms, and your ability to use a smartphone, your ability to use a computer, your ability to use various softwares on a computer increases and gets enhanced. So e-governance, e-learning better. I remember I started teaching on and off from 2006, and then formally from 2011, until the advent of COVID, which was somewhere 2020, March 2020, if I'm remembering it correctly. I was not aware of certain digital platforms which could be used to deliver lectures, like Google Classroom, like Google Meet, like Zoom, right? Uh, there are so many platforms that you can use, um, and you can use only today because of the fact that something which was very undesirable happened. Let's be very honest. I mean, I would not have known how to use Google Classroom effectively had there been no COVID. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. It was not a good thing, the pandemic, but there were certain things that happened which forced me to get literate and learn certain skills, right? So and because of the fact that the government decided that we will be moving towards digital platforms to disseminate information regarding courses and teach students, e-learning became important, and Google Classrooms and other online lecture delivery became a very integral part of all this. So I enhanced my digital skills. Sometimes it becomes very lectures which are being delivered in online mode, you have a better engagement through multimedia. Because today, let's say, when I was discussing it with you, I went and I opened another website of SWAM portal. When I wanted to show you principles like of gyroscope, I opened a YouTube short and I showed you what it is. So sometimes when you can use multimedias, you can show pictures, you can show videos, uh, it kind of enhances learning and it makes things better in terms of engagement and capturing your attention. It happens, this becomes more interesting with students because they have very short attention span. So if you can show them some cartoons, if you can show them some funny videos and which have a message to deliver, even for students in engineering colleges, if you can show them something like a certain phenomena that you want to explain, and then you can show a video that has a movie explaining that phenomena, then there is a better engagement and the learning is, I think, enhanced many folds. So these are some of the benefits. Again, these benefits are not exhaustive. There can be many, but these are certain things that come to my mind when I think of it almost immediately. And that's why I mentioned them. Then we come to challenges. Of course, e-learning and digital literacy all come with certain challenges. So there is a digital divide in remote areas. When I say digital divide, I mean that there are certain areas in our country where internet is very easily available and the connectivity is very good, the speed is very good. But then there are certain areas which lag in all these aspects. The speed may not be very good, then may not be enough towers, and you may not be able to access internet. So there is a digital divide, and as you move in interior parts of the country, in rural areas, villages, uh, you know, the penetration is not as good as the penetration is in metropolitan areas. Like there are terms like digital density. How many, let's say, how many towers are there um, per square kilometer. So maybe in metropolitan areas, this number may be very high, but this number will be very low in rural areas. So there is a digital divide, I'm sorry. Of course, this divide is kind of, narrowing, but it still exists. Um, Maybe 10 years down the line, it may not be as acute as it is today because 10 years back, it was something and that number has significantly decreased now. So, with time, this divide is going to become, less and less significant. Lower digital readiness of our teachers. Since we're talking about higher education, we have to talk about digital readiness. So not everybody uh, accepts digital means as an effective way of lecture delivery of any action that we do in academics, right? Uh, there is a there's an inertia that stops us from using it. Sometimes there are certain technologies that we don't understand very well that we can actually use. So the readiness of teachers is low in the sense that maybe in metropolitans there are certain features which are being used by faculty members in premier institutions. But when you go to rural areas or tier 2, tier 3 cities, people are not, um, you know, they're not aware of it. They're not ready for it. I'm not saying that it's essentially to do with their intellect. They may not have been exposed to it, right? Because they're not been exposed to it, they know very little about it. So when something comes, everybody looks at a change through certain level of skepticism. Is it important? Should we do it? जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, काम ठीक ठाक चल तो रहा है, चेंज करने की क्या जरूरत है? Change is always resisted, even if it is for a good. So yeah, so I will not say low digital readiness, but I should probably say that there is a resistance towards adopting, something new. Limited student motivation. Sometimes students are also not interested to do it. Like there are a lot of times when there is an online lecture happening. Um, like I'm sure that even in this program, there are times when the coordinators of FIP ask you to open your cameras, right? Because they want to know whether you are motivated enough to continue with this lecture or not. Are you actually even there? Students may, sitting on a screen for 5 hours, 6 hours, the motivation kind of, dwindles and it kind of goes away. So, sometimes student motivation, you can actually motivate students when you're looking at their faces live in a class, but not so much when you're on a platform like Zoom or Google Meet or any other platform, right? So a challenge is how to motivate students and how to keep that motivation alive for the entire time is a challenge. Okay. Then the next thing which comes is network issue. Like suppose right now, if the power was to go off in my home, or if the internet is not stable, then we'll say that there is some network issue and we are not able to do this lecture successfully, right? So if that happens, then of course, all these modes of communicating and all these modes of learning and information dissemination, they are all irrelevant. How will you be able to apply for a passport if the passport website is down? How will you be able to book a ticket on IRCTC if you do not have an internet connection which is working? So these are certain challenges. Some of them can be made better. Some of them can be absolutely eliminated. So those things are there. And but yeah, they remain. Some of them will become less and less significant with time, but some bit of it will still remain, right? So this was something that I wanted to talk about. The next topic is learning management system, but I think we'll take another break. And when we come back for phase 3 of our lecture, we'll start with this third aspect. And after I complete this, that will be the end of the lecture. So we'll take a small break now and we will meet at 1:15. Okay. Right. I hope that's fine with everybody. We'll meet at 1:15. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, can we begin now? Uh, can we start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So we come to the last phase of our lecture today, which deals with the learning management systems. So LMS systems are used to manage online courses and online lecture deliveries. Just one second. Sorry. Yeah. So a learning management system is used to manage online lecture delivery courses. And an LMS has basically 4 components. So the first is a content management system, and it consists of tools to manage digital files, including tools for uploading, downloading, displaying media, and hyperlinks. Then you have a user account management system where database for records of user details such as username, passwords, emails for authentication and data logging, all these things are available. Then you have a communication system which consists of synchronous and asynchronous communication tools like we had discussed earlier, like chat rooms, personal messaging, discussion forums. And then you have an evaluation system that consists of measurement tools like quizzes, assignments, homeworks, and gradebooks. So generally, any LMS system is rated on their effectiveness to deliver all these 4 components, right? Um, how many people have used Google Classroom uh, during their courses? Is there anyone who has used Google Classroom? I see. So let me show you what Google Classroom looks like. Let me just, okay, let me just go. I have to stop. Let me just escape first. Just 1 second. I'm opening Google Classroom that I used to use. So let me share the screen now. I hope you can see the screen. So let me go to, so here is a, so if you go to your Google Gmail ID, then you have these options over here. One of the options is a Google Classroom. So if you click it, so here you have these classes. So these were some classes that I was taking last semester. So let's open, let's say we open Sim Circuit Lab. So you can see that here you have an option of people where you have the information. So I am the teacher, and then you have information about students. So here you can actually look at the email of the student, because that's all you really need to send any message. So if you want to email the student email is there. You want to remove a student, you can remove it. You don't want that student to write anything, then you can mute that student also, right? So this is class. So classroom here, here you have a class code with which students can enter the class or join the class. If there are some homeworks or some work due, it comes over here. If you want to give them some work, then you assign them some work here in the classroom. I did not assign them anything here. Then these were certain announcements that I made. So if you just type something, you can add it, and I was giving them some information here. I told them how I'm going to assess them, how their assessments is going to happen, things like that. So all of this information is here. I did not grade them here, but the possibility of giving them grades is also here. So if you want to create an assignment and give them, it gets checked, everything happens over here. So this is a Google Classroom. So this is in a way almost a learning management system, but there are better ones also, right? Right. So this was just one example. Yeah. So now let's come to what are the what is an LMS? What are the core features? So LMS is actually a software platform that manages course delivery. So you can deliver your course here. You can upload notes. You can upload pre-recorded videos, or you can upload links to YouTube videos. You can share content with students, like for example, your PDF notes or some information that you want to share with them, some figures, some plots, some movie links or whatever. You can give them assignments and quizzes over here, as you saw in Google Classroom. You can do that. Attendance of students is something that can happen. So, Google Meet has a feature where an attendance is automatically created. Whenever somebody logs in, their name and the time at which they entered the Google Meet interaction, it gets logged in. So attendance happens automatically. Like in this program in BAMU, you would give your attendance, they give a roll call, and the attendance is taken manually. But there are certain features even in Zoom where attendance can actually be taken automatically. Then you have feedback and analytics also available. So feedback means that if you can create opportunities. You can create some instances where you can give feedback on how the class went. Like every day lecture happens, you are given a page where a Google form where you give feedback of what the lecture was about, was it useful to you, and such things. You do that, right? So a learning platform, LMS system manages all this, right? Um, what are the core features of a LMS? Well, the core features of the LMS is that it allows you to create a course and assignments. You have student dashboard in the sense that where students can actually interact with you. Uh, uh, Suppose you're a student, then what appears in front of you will be different than what appears in front of a teacher. So on your dashboard, you'll be able to see announcement made by teachers, assignments given by teachers. You'll be able to find ways in which you can submit those assignments, and you can see your result whenever it comes, right? Gradebook is basically that. Then you have discussion forums in the sense that if there is a problem that you are not understanding, that you want people to give you answers for, or your teacher to give you answers for, then you type it on a discussion forum. Integration with plagiarism tool. Now, this is something which is not there in Google Classroom, but these days when people are writing things, preparing reports, writing technical papers, and since a lot of information is available on the internet, the tendency at one point of time was that you just cut, copy, paste from other people and you create your own things. So to prevent that, these softwares of plagiarism came into picture where you are able to understand and assess how much originality there is in a certain document. So that those are plagiarism tools. Like, there is a tool called Turnitin, which is very famous and is accepted worldwide. So there are some LMSs that integrate LMS with these plagiarism tools, right? So they become important. Then you have mobile app support. So there are I'm sure that you've used internet to shop, right? So if you open a certain website, let's say Myntra, or Flipkart or Amazon on your internet, on your desktop or laptop, the appearance looks different. And if you open it on your phone, the appearance looks different. Sometimes for some applications, you have to download an app, right? But you don't have to download any app when you access it on your computer. So making these things compatible both on desktop and on mobile system is an integral part of enhancing the acceptability of an LMS. So mobile app support is also very important. Something will look very different if you access it on a computer, and it will look entirely different when you access it on a mobile. So mobile app support is very important, right? Like for example, IRCTC website is very easily accessible on a computer, and you can have an IRCTC app on your mobile phone, right? Because sometimes accessing the website on your mobile phone becomes difficult because the scale on which you're looking at things, the dimension of your mobile phone is much smaller compared to the dimension of the LMS. Oh, sorry, the dimension of the desktop or the computer that you're using, right? So these are the core features. Again, I say that these are not exhaustive. Most of the important ones have been mentioned. There may be some other as well. So how is an LMS design framework? How does a LMS design framework look like, right? So we start from point one. So you can see that, you have video lessons. They can be embedded. Then you can actually perform some research and exploration in LMSs, right? You have guided practice. That is also another feature which is there in LMS and becomes an integral part of the designing of an LMS. Individual or pair practice. You provide an opportunity for an individual to um, dwell into the topic, or look into what is being taught individually and even in pairs, right? You can have a discussion in which there are many people involved. You can have chat rooms. You can have groups that could be formed. So those kind of abilities should be there in LMS. Suppose you want to give students a certain project and you want to bifurcate the entire class into groups of 4, and you want to use your LMS for that. So LMS should have that feature that you are pairing certain students and giving them a task like a project, right? So those kind of features should also be there. Online discussions should be possible in any LMS and becomes an integral part of its design framework. Real-time feedback is another thing. There are some times when uh, people can actually give feedback of what is being taught right at the time when it is being taught, or just when it is about to end. So real-time feedback also becomes an important part of LMS. And of course, reading and writing. So you should be able to read things which are being displayed or disseminated, and you should be able to give your feedback or your opinion or answers by writing back on certain things. So these 7 things become an integral part of the design framework of a learning management system. I once again repeat them. You have video lessons, you have research and exploration, you have guided practice, you have individual or pair practice, you have online discussions, you have real-time feedback, reading and writing, right? So here is another software which is called Canvas. Canvas is actually a very professional learning management system which is used in universities. It's there in IITs, it's there in JNU, in University of Delhi. I do not know whether it's available in your institutions. You'd probably know better. But generally but it's a subscription-based Canvas. But Google Classroom is freely available. It's open source. Most of the people use Google Classroom. But Canvas, you can see over here that there is a certain dashboard, which is, I've taken a screenshot of it. So you have different courses here. You can see over here, there are this is a sign for discussion. This is a sign for announcements. This is a sign for PDFs. Here is a folder where all documents are there. So you look at the dashboard here. So this is a dashboard which gives you a summary of whatever is there. You have various courses will come here, groups will come over here. You can segregate people here. And then you have calendar here, which tells you, okay, when are the holidays, when are the classes, if when is the assessment, when is the last date for quizzes, etc. Inbox is there, just like an email inbox where messages come and go. Here, you have this idea about group assignments, when it is discussions, midterm assignments, video assignments, things like that. And then, you have pass and fail information here, and other relevant things. You want to view your grades, there is a sign here. So all these features, they become an integral part of LMS, and Canvas is one of them. Google Classroom, I showed you, also has these features, right? So here I talk about some of the popular LMS tools which are there in India. So Moodle is a widely used LMS tool in universities, all right? It's a subscription. It used to be subscription based, but now they made it open source after COVID, I think. It's not very user friendly though, okay? It becomes difficult. You have to learn how to use it and you have to educate students also how to use it. So this is also one of the important features. So there are some case studies also. One is that of my university, Delhi University, which has implemented online admission, outcome-based education exams and Moodle-based LMS. It has reduced administrative delays significantly. IIT Bombay has opened MOOCs, which is massive online open courses, which has become an integral part of SWAYAM platform. They are scalable, high-quality digital content. Kerala University, which is another university quite famous for their digital initiatives. They have fully digital academic workflows, e-governance platforms, and LMS and analytics integrations. This is an example of a university from foreign, Arizona State University. They also have some LMS, and it's pretty much the same. They had different phases in which it got implemented. So some idea is there. So outcomes, we have already, kind of looked into it. So I'm kind of, pushing ahead and finishing it. LMS and rural education. So according to recent data, about 29% of rural households have internet access compared to 66% in the urban area. So this is the digital divide that I was talking about. Um, you can clearly see that urban areas, the penetration is quite high of digital, of internet connectivity and broadband availability. But in rural areas, it's pretty less. It's not even 50%. But I'm sure that these numbers will continuously increase, right? The digital device significantly hampers the adoption of e-learning and LMS, right? So if students and educators cannot access online resources without internet connections which are reliable, things become very difficult, right? Implementing e-learning, e-governance, or LMS. So, in rural India, it's very important that we kind of, intensify our efforts to, bridge the digital divide, because e-learning platforms provide opportunities of empowerment, flexible learning opportunities. We need to, have digital literacy. We have to have community-based ICT hubs, training programs for teachers, because all these things, provide us with various socioeconomic benefits, right? Especially in rural areas where skill-based work and vocational training becomes important. And, you know, digital environment of this country, if improves several things, not only related to education, but skills, vocations, and employability, they will all have digital literacy, e-learning, e-governance will have a positive impact on various aspects of life, not only in urban areas, but rural areas. So digital strategies of digital education in India, I think this is very important because these things are all very interlinked. So we need government initiatives. We need infrastructure development. We also need these facilities to be affordable and accessible. We also need to have people that are digitally literate. We need localized content in the sense that there are certain regions in India, we have so many different languages, we have so many different dialects. So the contents need to be made relevant in regional languages, in local dialects, keeping in mind the sensitivities and the culture and norms of the people. So those kind of things are very important. So contents need to be localized. Sorry, teachers training is very important. Community engagement is very important. And of course, innovation and research is required everywhere. So it's required here as well. So these are the certain important facets of intensifying digital education in rural areas that the government of India or the state governments or district administration must look into. So there are some challenges ahead and there are solutions. So challenges, of course, are digital divide, low information and communication technology skills amongst faculty members and in general people. Systems are fragmented. They are not integrated seamlessly. Student engagement is another issue. Motivating them is another issue. And cyber security, all these things need to be secure. Like, for example, if you're conducting an exam in the online mode, no hacker should be able to access the question paper before the question paper is to be circulated among students for the exam, right? And there are some of the solutions that I mentioned over here, right? So thank you. I think this brings us to an end of this lecture on e-governance, e-learning, and learning management systems. I once again thank the HRDC of BAMU, Aurangabad, and the university itself for giving me an opportunity to give this lecture. And I wish all the participants best of luck for succeeding in this induction program and in general in their professions. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the UGC MMTC, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, I extend our grateful to Dr. Varun Saxena for sharing his valuable knowledge and insights us today. Your vast academic experience, distinguished research contributions, and engaging presentation have greatly enriched our understanding and inspired everyone present. We sincerely appreciate the time and effort you have taken to be with us despite your busy schedule. Your thoughtful deliberation and interaction with the audience have made this session both information and memorable, especially for this regarding LMS. Thank you, sir. Once
Thank
again.
you. Namaskar.